about that. Touchy button. Welcome, you guys. Tornadoes, 17 Mississippi, 10 in Texas, 5 in Alabama, 1 in Louisiana. Have a good spiritual foundation. See people helping each other. People, they need the strength, courage, and hope right about now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Did you see that? Want to see it again? Look how quickly this develops. From how far away he is until he intercepts this tornado. That's why it's important to know when they're coming. Stop like that dude in your truck did. This storm chaser has got guts. he speeds up, drives right next to it, right into it. Time and then we'll close this up. We'll come over to this guy's channel. Everybody sub and give this guy a like. Tell you what, he's got some huevos. The multi-vortex tornado. That's one vortex that just drove past. He's in the center right there. Now here comes another vortex on the outside. That truck got so lucky, it went right behind him. So we'll come back to this video later on in our storm casing part. All right, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. All right, howdy folks, welcome back. I told you I would be back, and here we are. All right, so first off, while that's loading up, let me show you the date, 12/29/2024. And while that's loading up, I'm going to take a moment to thank you for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. If you make it to the spiritual report at the end, you might catch on to how precious this family is and how precious you are to me. Okay? So, yeah, the weather is wicked in Michigan. Yeah, I bet. Welcome, Cindy. All right, here we go. You can see that we had full halo, well, half a halo eruption right there. Okay, a few little trailing moons. We saw down below last night these spherical objects sneaking through. There's two medium-sized ones coming out the bottom here. Let's just zoom in on that really quick here. So we want this is the bottom part right here. And they're kind of faint, but coming out right there is one, and then a secondary one. And you can see some of the little trailing moons and stuff following. Okay, so that's your activity for today. We're not necessarily going to have to go through this frame by frame. We got some other stuff coming up here. Just a second. So there's your activity right there. Also, I wanted to take you over to Stereo A and capture the capture it got of this event too. All right, we were looking at that last night right there. Okay. Well, this causes all kinds of solar radiation to come to our planet and get absorbed down to the core level, and then all of a sudden we have activity, volcanoes, earthquakes. So that's what it does, kind of. So, all right, there's your activity for today. Now, what I want to do, we're going to be back to that site in just a minute, anyways, because you can see here we have a new X flare right there. But first, let's back up really quick. Our solar flux index is at 255. We're down 5 points. Okay, that's good. At least we're coming down. All right. Sunspot number count is 209. We're down 4 more spots. Okay, at least that's coming down. And the area is still in the green. Not too concerned about that. But what we want to do is zoom in on our GOES X-ray flux and see how fluxed we are. GOES X-ray flux, that is. Now, it was so high, it was just climbing higher and higher throughout the day, being that we had a little X flare right there, okay? That was what we started to report on last night, and little did I know, but it actually reached the threshold of the X flare capacity, so then it tapered off. Long duration event right here. Doesn't look like it on the satellite so much. Here, let's come back to this one really quick. It doesn't look so much like that on the satellite right here. but we did get a lot of energy coming off of this. Okay, so going back here, and then we got this little gem right here going into the next day. And I know you guys don't want to see the next X flare, but we're gonna do it anyway. So tough. There it is, 12:30 right there, all refreshed. Here we go. Ooh, coming out of this region right there. Ooh, and up here too. So it's just a little bit. Oh, there's Marcia. I love you, darling. Okay, so as you can see, we got another event going on, and we got some of this crisscross magnetic field going on here, this lattice work right here going on through this event. So looks like we have a little object maybe right here in the front, right in that region, causing stuff to bend this way and come off the bottom. Let's go ahead and right about there. You can definitely see this little thing, but it looks like there's something big, round, and black right there. Let's go one more frame back. Right there's a good one. And we'll zoom in on that really quick here. And pull it over. There we go. Let me kind of darken that a little bit. And there's your instrument reacting to it. It's taking plasma, draping it down. It's actually this pole up here is the same polarity as the bottom of the sun, and this pole is coming off like the side over here, trying to latch on more to the top of the sun. So that's what's causing this crisscross, lattice work, this crisscrossing of polarity right here, it seems to be. Okay, I'll let you be the judge of that as well. Okay, you guys are grown adults here. You've spent some time at this channel. You can come over to this instrument as well and zoom in on some of this stuff. I suggest you do sometimes, just to, see some of this for yourself. You can zoom in on some of these activities. Meanwhile, note our Spire region right here, another region of activity going on, something over here. So what we're going to do is scroll down just a tad bit and then go bing, 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 bing. Now we got another event coming out of this Spire region right here. Our next one, that's probably our secondary M flare that's right behind the X flare. And you can see a round black spheroid, the shape of one right there. And we get one more frame, couple more. So last frame right there at 7 o'clock, one more before it. Backing up. You can even see over here, spherical shape, darker patch, kind of got even a little hint of plasma going around it right here. It's slightly glowing instead of totally dark, so it's still got some plasma draped around it. We could even take a peek and see if Stereo A's got anything on that too. No, only one frame. No, let's go next. Yeah, it's not showing enough right there. Okay, so there's a little peek at your next X flare right there. Okay, so 2 X flares within, well, about 24 hours of each other, right around the time of this show going on. And we'll get to these magnitudes in just a second here. Let me zoom back. So that's how fluxed we are. X-ray flux, that is. Now, your geomagnetic forecast, check it out. We got a G3 predicted on New Year's Eve. Okay, last day of the year, a G3 predicted, okay? And a G1 going into the new year, all right? So following this, we'll probably have more geomagnetic activity in the next few days here too, as well. Now, let's get into, see your X flare potential up to 30 now. That's reasonable because we just had one, okay? All right, now look at this long list of flare events. All these M flares, 3 3s, 7 1 right there, 2 6 4 1 3 3 5 3 2. So all these M flares are because we're way up in this range. We're already in M territory. So any kind of little burp or fart just creates another M flare. So then you can also see our two X flares, the one we had last night, the X 1.1, and now recently, just a little minute ago, our X 1.6 with the radio burst. Okay, right there. So meanwhile, your auroras are healthy. Okay, we're due for an aurora event tomorrow. And right now your KP is quiet. You can see here really quick. The highest we climbed to is 2. I was telling you we were going to get a little bump and maybe around 2. So there it is. It wasn't much at all. And we're already kind of creep back down to 1 and hovering right around there. So right now, geomagnetic activity is low. That's fine with me. You know, I don't like to see a bunch more. But you can see that it here pretty soon we'll see a spike of like maybe 6 or 7, possibly even higher. We'll see what happens with that. Okay. So there's your auroras in the meantime. Okay, now coming down to this, look at all your sunspot regions as well. You got 3936, that's beta, gamma, delta, and growing. You got 3933, that's beta, gamma, and growing. This one's beta, gamma, but declining. Okay, this one's declining as well. But we have 3941, that's beta, gamma, and growing as well. So here we go. A strong flare reached X 1.6, was just detected around AR 3936 at 4:14. Okay, this event was associated with a 10 centimeter radio burst, a 10 flare lasting 7 minutes and measuring 1,000 solar flux units. SFU. Well, SFU too. Okay. Also, okay, take note that another flare was observed shortly after around AR 3932 in the southeast quadrant, and this brought the total peak of X-ray flux back up to 1.1, X 1.1. So secondary, wow, it brought the X-ray flux back up to X 1.1. A second radio burst lasting 2 minutes and measuring 430 SFU. Yeah, SFU too. Coronal dimming was already evident, meaning a coronal mass ejection is likely associated. Okay, so updated imagery will be coming up. We did have a small little burst right there, but not too bad. Let's check out our tracker, do some track-a-lacking, since we are lacking some tracking. If we can get this one to pull up really quick. Okay, you're all familiar with this instrument. I'm sure you guys seen plenty of Wages World and this show. So you can see that we are about to take one right on the chin. Okay, it's not going north or south on this one. This is a side cut view of north-south, so it's not going above the planet or below the planet. It's hitting direct hit right on the planet. Okay, so here we go. Brace for impact. All right, now we're going to go to this one really quick. It's a little more controllable. You can see this impact right here, 31st. There's your velocity. Their density, they're calling for above almost 50. So there's 40. Really, can we have this bigger, please? There we go. All right. Just a quick peek at this. You see how they've changed the adjustments on their chart right here. Plasma density. Here's 30 at that midway point. So 30 is high. This is reaching almost upwards of 50. Do you see the 50 mark isn't the very top line? It's just a little bit below the top. Well, it almost equalizes with this. It's just a tad bit under. Let me move the arrow and I'll let you be the judge of that. Okay, but that's going to be a very dense plasma wave. We're going to take a good shot on the chin. Everybody, let's pray that our magnetic field is in good shape upon impact at the same time. All right. All right, so there's that. I would really like to have this one just as a third reference. And it doesn't want to open. Come on, you, open up. Here we go. Hello, everybody in the chat. Cindy, Tina P, Harley, Marcia, thank you. D-Rez, Misty, Silver Fox. You guys are all awesome. You know that? All right, here we go. Now again, here with our plasma density spike, that's at least 40, maybe 45, I would say. Pretty, from my vantage point, you don't have the best one because of my camera, but we're going to load this up too and just take a little peek at when they're expecting impact here, late midday the 31st. Boom. All right, let me get a little coloration back there. All right, so good impact coming here, New Year's Eve. All right, transitioning into the first, and then possibly a second impact on the first. Okay, so sending out the old year and ringing in the new one with a blast, literally. Okay, so we got that covered. I want to get rid of this. We can open up a couple more instruments here. Oh, wait, do we finish this? Let's get on over to spaceweather.com really quick here. Talk about their article really quick here. Okay, so here we go. Geomagnetic storm watch. Moderate G2 to strong G3 geomagnetic storms are possible on December 31st when a CME is expected to hit Earth's magnetic field. The CME was hurled into space yesterday by the eruption of a magnetic filament connected to sunspot 3939. Now, if the strong storm materializes, northern lights could descend to mid-latitudes in the U.S. and Europe. Okay, so we might see some auroras that night. Now, strong solar activity resumes. The quiet has broken, and during the past 24 hours, sunspot 3936 has produced two X-class solar flares, X1 and a 1.5 or the 1.6, either way, and a score of lesser M flares. So this region right here been crack-lacking. All right, and when we come over here, you can see that's our region right here. Still got all kinds of spire activity going on. Let's pull it back up right a little quick right here, this region. And then we have all kinds of little trailing moons that are popping off. Boom. Okay, so we still got stuff coming in. All right, so a bunch, and then you can see when, say, one little event happens and another moon latches on to something else, we get these simultaneous sympathetic M flares. I know people like to say they're communicating to each other, but what are they saying? No. Anyways, they could both be latching on to little objects that are moving by. Notice how they only show the very close surface of the sun, not further out where these objects are, colliding with the magnetic field lines out there. Okay, this is actually a double X flare. Both explosions pictured above crossed the X1's threshold, so extreme ultraviolet radiation from the flares ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere, causing a shortwave radio blackout approximately centered over Australia. Ham radio operators in the area may have lost signal. Okay, so this already affected radio blackout, so it will be having impact on Earth. Okay, and this is, your double X flare, this one pumping out one, and then another one the next day, and then this M flare right behind it, right there. Okay, so we're in for a little bumpy ride. Now, let's move on to our Schumann here and take a look at another bumpy ride, huh? Okay, get that out of there. Ooh, boy. Look at what's been going on, huh? Where to start? Okay, we had that dip that's now off the chart now. That's kind of, time has passed. It's not on the chart anymore. But since then, we have been going through quite a bout here. Okay, and you can see breaks here and there in between. So this is all these frequencies at very intense, very intense. So it's kind of like, well, imagine having every radio station on in your car radio, right? AM and FM radio stations playing, all garbled together. Your commercials, your country with talk radio, mixed with rock and hip hop, just all this garbled together. and then someone comes and turns the volume up really loud. It would just jar you, right? Well, that's what this is kind of doing. Meanwhile, our 7.83, you can't even see it in here. I mean, where is it? You could barely make it out right here at the beginning. It would be running right through that region right there, but you can't make it out. So also, this is producing the 7.83 very intensely as well. Okay, so our magnetic field is strong right now. It's not normal, it's extra strong kind of right now. And when you have this kind of grinding and stuff, it's when you have these breaks in between that the field gets low. That's when the core and the shell kind of stop, or they start grinding so hard that they freeze up and seize up for a second, right? I mean, that's what we saw just a couple of days ago. And I believe that may have let a lot of the energy come pouring in. And now this could be repercussions of that event, or this is just pressure building up over time, and now it's starting to really get to the planet here. All right. And you're seeing core shell grinding, relieving, probably volcano, earthquake event, or whatever. But all this pressure down below here is going to make its way up to the surface, and we're going to have volcanic activity and earthquake activity as repercussions from it. Okay. And this also affects your moods. All right. So it's been quite an extreme roller coaster for quite a while here. All right, with a little break there and then right back to it. And these are your current readings. So it's intensified just lately. So if you're feeling that, maybe that's why. All right, let's move on now and get into our null school report. The School of the Null, earth.net, nullschool.net. Sorry. All right, really quick. Your tropical convergence zone still midway above the 15-degree parallel in the equator right there. So still shunted a little north because of thermal activity along the ocean floor there. Okay, let's go a little higher up to our storm levels, shall we? Okay, we're looking for vortex activity. Look at all the complex vortexes going on over here. Meanwhile, this event over here has kind of lightened up a little bit, and now we're getting more of a flow coming into the country. We're still seeing this cold air rushing down from Canada, colliding with warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf again. Actually, this is coming off the mountains right now, so we got this storm moving through. But also our thermal patterns out here changed, and now it kind of let go of this vortex, this storm, and let it kind of carry through now. So meanwhile, we got other ones growing out here and a couple lined up right there. Okay, so there's this. Now, what I want to... Whoa. Who put acid in the punch? All right, I'm going to come over here really quick and check out some of these other vortexes. Just taking a peek at what's going on around here. Every once in a while, something strange pops out. You got this little storm rotating around down there, something going on here. All right, now what I want to do is our sandstorm report. Lo and behold, we have a sandstorm going on in wintertime. Okay, here we go. Let me just kind of mess with it too much. All right, right around here is good. So you can see pretty strong plume coming off, going all the way out into the Atlantic, getting pulled way up here to Ireland and England. All right, some of these plumes have blown stuff up to the North Pole. Okay, so now you got particulates, sand particulates from dust storms and sandstorms blowing around up at the North Pole. Okay, all this activity going all the way across the Atlantic. You see this big hook, and the storm has like swooped up some of it. There's some gathered over here, Central America, South America. You can see the mountains are so high. The Andes Mountains are so high here that it can't get over it. But now we come into this region, Middle East, Saudi Arabia, still kind of going off there. Good plume going there. All right, everything's kind of changing over there. Australia's has kind of calmed down a little bit. It's not a big old sandstorm, but you can see residual sand or particulates still in the air around there. Okay, luckily that thing calmed down a little bit. Okay, now let's get into our chemicals. We're doing sulfur dioxide. This is not carbon dioxide. This is sulfur, which is basically vaporized magma, or the gas that surrounds the magma down below. Okay, the magma wants to push up through the perforations of the crust, but it's so thick and like gooey that it can't make it through the tiny little crevices in the crust. But gas can. So the gas comes pushing out first. Okay, and it comes out super, super hot, thousands of degrees, and starts fires at some of these location sites. So we're going to do a quick little check-in with Canada here. Looks like all that fire activity has died down. Okay, you see a very intense plume right up here in this region right there, but not too bad, no fires. Okay, so we don't even need the fires on here tonight. That's good. Good news to report. Because the other night we had fires up in Canada in the wintertime. Meanwhile, you can see we have our country divided. One side has very porous crust, spongy type crust, very porous, so gas just pours out all over the place. So that side's bleeding out. Meanwhile, the other side over here has got more granite, mountainous, rugged terrain. So your perforation sites are more volcanic in nature. So there's your country divided until we get our president in office. And, well, some other wonderful things could possibly happen too, you know. Alrighty. As we continue on down, you see Mexico going off, you see Cuba going off, Jamaica, all these volcanic islands right here. Let me just zoom in on them really quick. I know I show them every night, but it's important that you guys understand that every one of these islands here is a potential volcano. All right, right now they're spewing SO2. We get another good burp from down below, one of these could go off. We never know, okay? Lately, it's been, a new site instead of like an active site getting, going ballistic or something. So, meanwhile, all individual sites all the way down here, we're coming into our fulcrum point on the plate boundary system where we have a weak spot here on the shore. Okay, there's your SO2 emission site, really strong, still pretty good size there tonight. This one seems to have, kind of blended in more with this one. But all five of them are still there. Now, when they're fading and you can barely see this one and barely see that one, that's more of our normal activity. So we still have a decent uptick in activity. And when we come down here, you see all this, you see all this pressure coming out along the coastline right here. Well, it blows out into the Pacific and the Atlantic. And when we see good size, healthy size plumes like this and over here as well, it means a lot of gas is coming out. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of pressure driving a lot of gas up through the surface. All right, now as we stop off in Hawaii, just really quick, it's the hub of the Pacific Rim. Pressure gets diverted all the way around the rim, and any kind of perforation in the middle, well, Hawaii being the hub of the Pacific Rim, we're seeing SO2 coming out there and volcanic activity at Hawaii as well. Okay, moving on, let's zoom back out. Come on over and adjust for their time zone and check in on the big bruise on the face of the planet known as China. Now, this is sulfur dioxide, very, very high concentrations in this region. Let me just pull up your little color chart right here. You see that this is the low end, okay? When you're seeing yellow and then orange, that's not good. But then we're getting into pinks and purples and dark blues and black. And black. And black. Yeah, and now they're having a string of pneumonia going on over there. I don't think it's the bird flu. They've been breathing sulfur dioxide for years now. I'm surprised they're still alive. To tell you the truth, it's crazy how high the concentrations are. And then when I show you the SO4, which is even worse, they're just being slowly choked to death. All right. Meanwhile, India following suit. Their concentration levels getting darker and darker over time. It keeps rotating up and getting caught on the backside of the Himalayas, and it won't cross over, and it keeps circulating around, kind of like a. Don't say it, Brian. All right, here we go. Middle East is filling in as well. You can see that we have SO2 plumes all over the place. They're also having methane emissions out here, which is a flammable gas. So when it breaks the surface, it catches on fire. So not only are they having really strong SO2 emissions, but they are having flaming pits open up with methane emissions catching on fire. Okay, Saudi Arabia filling in as well. All right, you can see Europe bleeding out, Russia bleeding out. So it's all over the place. And BP Earthwatch did a good job a few years back when he reported on this and brought the world's attention to it, And since then, everybody kind of lost focus on this. I got to hand it to BP for bringing it out, bringing the world's attention to it. And pray for him. I know he's going through something right now. So. All right, meanwhile, here we are at Java. You can see it's nice and dark purple. Our relief valve area, good indicator of how much pressure is building up down below. Some of this stuff has been blown out into the straits, so if you threw it all back on the island, it would be even darker purple. It has volcanoes, sulfur gas emissions, so a lot of pressure being relieved in that area. Also, this little island right here with the two little pinprick holes in it right there, relieving pressure as it comes up to the plate boundary right here in this deep region where we see our deep quakes. Also, we have Fiji, the center of our deep quake region. And then we also have, right off of here, the home reef seamount that made it to the ocean surface and is now a new island. Okay, so there's your SO2 report. Do we get everybody? Yeah. What's going on up there? Yeah, this gas has also made it to the top of the world as well. Just really quick, they're all having pneumonia. Okay, so they have all kinds of SO2. Let's go over to particulates and check out their, see that? Let's check out their SO4. Oh dear. Those are high concentrations. Look on your color chart, white being the highest concentration, okay? So SO2, SO4. Here, let's go through all these wonderful particulates. Oh, they got 1 micron, even bigger microns, organic matter. Yep, there's a bunch of organic matter that they're breathing as well as SO4 and SO2. Okay. So no wonder why they're having pneumonia over there. Okay. Also, you can see that Taiwan here, good emissions out of it. Japan, volcanic island system has its emissions as well. And then a little bit going on up here to Kamchatka. You can see this one going off and all these up here. If I pulled it down. Okay, so there we go. I was wondering why my oxygen level seems a little depleted. Yep. Lots of oxygen. Do you see this guy right here? The eyes, funky nose, his chin, his horn coming up, wrapping around, another one coming and wrapping around. Tilt your head to the left a little bit and I'll zoom out. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, moving on. We got to get into this other stuff. I want to talk about next is the oceans. Did our sea surface temperature anomalies going? Actually, before we do that, let's take a peek at our polar vortex really quick. Okay, now we're seeing, can we have the winds on there too, please? Okay, now we're seeing a very organized, centrally located polar vortex Let's see over here. Now, America, remember, it was way down here cutting across the Florida and Texas, Baja, region there. Now it's coming way out of here, taking a hard left and going right into Europe and everything. So we've had a shift in our polar vortex in its configuration. We got this rotation going on out here. Then we come down to a little bit lower to our upper jet, which is just doesn't know what to do because it's struggling. It's fighting between the polar vortex and the lower jet stream here. This lower jet right here is what's controlling the weather, or usually is controlling the weather. Now it's being controlled more by our thermal anomalies here. So when we come down to 850, you see our weather patterns here is what the weather's riding on, and it doesn't necessarily fit that upper jet and the lower jet so much. It's more this pattern is being matching up with our ocean sea surface temperature anomalies, which we're going to go to now, and we're going to put the wind on there. Okay, so there's your wind patterns that we were just looking at 850, correlating with your hot and cold regions. Hot water, hot air forms over it. Cold water, cooler air. Hot air rises, cold air rushes into replace. The white arrows, the white movement is the air. The coloration is the water. Okay, this is temperature anomalies in the water. Now, the temperature anomalies are being caused by volcanic activity under the water, so this coloration is a good indication. It can also be an indicator of the pressure in the region down below, right? See how that can work? So coloration is the color of the water, or the temperature of the water, sorry, but it is also an indicator of the pressure down below that's pushing stuff up, changing the water temperature. You guys got this. It's easy stuff, really. It's just science and mainstream has taught you all wrong. And it's hard to grasp it if you're so dedicated to their science, then it doesn't make sense. But when you have an open mind, you can see what's going on. Meanwhile, your plate boundary comes out right about here. And put the little red, orange, little green circle right there. It runs parallel with this white line. Comes out, zigzags, goes up through there. Now, as I scoot down, you can see inside the Juan de Fuca fracture zone, we're having heat plumes growing here and along the coast. Remember, this is winter time up here in the Pacific Northwest. Why are they having hot water on the shore? Well, it's because there's a heat anomaly, something growing underneath here, and probably underneath the land here too, okay? All through this region. So even inside the Juan de Fuca, we're starting to see heat grow back in that region. So we need more earthquake activity through here to keep this activity calmed down. Okay, let me take that off. You can see that this goes below and above the plate boundary line, right? There's your little circle. So we're having activity at the Juan de Fuca below on this plate and up in this region as well. Also, this area has kind of calmed down off the coast here. We had this inundation in here in this LA pocket. That has receded as well. You can see a little scar or just a little change, but it's not red anymore, so that's good. Their earthquake activity should diminish. Meanwhile, we still got these two blobs here in the Gulf. Also over here, still going on in the Gulf of Mexico. There's some kind of leakage on the ocean floor right there, and it's been causing air patterns to, take warm, moist air up through the country, creating severe weather. And then we have the Atlantic. Let's look around really quick. Here's Africa. This big thing that opened up down here. That's looking funky. And it's their summertime. Some of this might be some warm water from, summertime. But down here, this is usually cold water. Going on out there, too. Come over here to Java really quick. You see cold water inundation over here because a lot of pressure is being relieved in the region. So cold water can, come rushing in once the hot water kind of diminishes. Now, what I want to do here is going to put on the winds. Sorry, there we go. and you'll see your correlations between hot and cold air masses that form over the hot and cold air patches, and your storms and your weather activities being caused by these thermal anomalies in the ocean, more so than it's being controlled by your jet streams. Now, we had these little guys pop up here at Fiji that were up here. Bing, bing. Remember, just last night there were 2 hot spots north of Fiji here, and they're gone now. So something opened up, they relieved pressure, and now they've closed up, and they're no longer there, which changes the air patterns through this region. So whatever happened in this region, whether it was an earthquake, volcano, or just they relieved the pressure in the region and then closed up, once they do, the wind patterns change. And I'm telling you, an earthquake or a volcanic blast or anything that could cause an opening or a closing on the ocean floor can change the weather. An earthquake could technically change the weather if it closed something up or opened it up. Whew. Okay, let me get the winds back on there. Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. All right, just going to let it rotate around. You can see we have heat plumes here. This should be your La Nina. It was all nice and organized, been disrupted because of these heat plumes that keep growing in this region, shunting a lot of your tropical divergence zone a little further north. And this area opening up down here. Okay, let's take a look at the Atlantic really quick. All right, you can see your matching rotations because of hot and cold. All righty, so there's all that. And we're going to take off this, and we're going to come over and do the earthquake report. Guys, you're hanging tough. I like that. Whoops, whoa. Come back here. The USGS. Okay, let's put it on satellite for your viewing pleasure. Close and open. And here we go. I used to have all these sites all ready for you guys, but computer freezes up now, and it's just going to have to be done this way. So, still this area, pretty quiet right now, no deep quakes. Remember, we saw mid-range 5 here last night, so that's a little uptick in magnitude down deep. Usually you're seeing mid-range 4, so we're a full magnitude up in pressure or in magnitude from our activity down below. We come over here to Vanuatu. You see 5.1. It's at 73. That's the volcano that's waking up there at Vanuatu, okay? Meanwhile, we have our little island here, whoops, right there, relieving pressure, so keeping magnitudes and earthquake activity through this region down. We have all kinds of volcanoes going off through these islands here, so keeping earthquake activity down to a minimum. The only thing we got going on is Vanuatu with its volcano. Nothing through this region today, nothing in your deep region today. Sometimes we get these little quiet spells right before pressure comes up to the surface and starts to make this bigger magnitudes. Now, look at this. Been talking about this fulcrum point being quiet for a while. We're seeing SO2 emissions and a hot spot open up. Well, now we're finally seeing some earthquake activity here. 4.5 at the surface, right in the pocket, right in there. That's the fulcrum point, pretty right there. Doesn't get more fulcrum-y than that. Now, another 4.7 at 20. It's a little deeper on the island right here, but that's still part of this fulcrum point. This plate boundary stops right here and goes along here. It's almost as if, whoops, it used to connect from here to here, and so that boom, and pushed it out, and it disconnected. It bent this way, and now the back part of the plate is right here connecting to this. So, still fulcrum point, and then if you look, this comes down at an angle and then turns and goes across, making a fulcrum point pointing this way. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3 fulcrum points here. This one down at 24 It's down on something in this little trench line right in here, coming to life, just next to the plate boundary. Then down below here, right on the tip of this island, we have a 5-5. That's down at 34. So that's volcanic activity on this volcanic island. All these are. Here, let's go right in. You can see, boom, boom. So, All right, coming over to this region. Been really quiet over here for a while, but now look what's going on here. We have some Gobi Desert action, a 4.4 at the surface there. 4.2 down a little deeper here. This is all very thick, mountainous, tough, thick crust. So some of your surface quakes don't break too high. They break a little lower in the strata. 4 right there down at 228. That's a little deeper. 4.3 at 93. That's more like it. Then look here. In the Caspian Sea, we have a 4.4, Azerbaijan, but here in the Caspian Sea, we have a 4.4 at the surface. So a new little spot. That spot had done one before. So every time we get a little round of pressure, maybe watch this area. These are little weak spots that like to wake up when pressure starts to build. 4.1 here at Turkey. That's 9.3. It's right at the surface too. Now, I should have just stayed zoomed in. I didn't see those. Looky here. This place has been active for a few days now. 5.1 here at the surface. We have volcanic features all around this area. There's a 4.3 at the surface, a 4.6 at the surface, another 4.4, 4.4 again, 4.9. You know what we do with 4.9s. And a 5.1. So a couple of 5s and a bunch of mid-range 4s right there, relieving air pressure in that area. Okay, you see this volcanic feature right next to these quakes. This thing's probably been plugged up for millions of years, and lava is moving around underneath it, trying to push out any kind of where it can. And since this is all being plugged up for so long, you might see a fissure open up right next to it here and start spewing lava, or you could possibly see, this earthquake activity to continue in that region. All right. Excuse me. Let's do the rest of the world, then we'll do America really quick. Here's a plate boundary quake of 5.5. Notice we've had a little uptick in our surface quakes. Magnitude 5. That one here was a 5.5 as well. This was a 5.1. So we've seen a little uptick in magnitude at the surface, and even here along the plate boundary. Cocos plate, 4.4 at the surface. Now let's do America with all magnitude, please. All right, here we go. Nothing in the Kamchatka. We got so many volcanoes going off there, relieving pressure. But as we come into the Aleutian Island system, where we got a couple more active volcanoes coming to life, they're not fully in full eruption phase, but they are active. Meanwhile, 3.5 down at 32 on the edge of this volcanic ridge right there. One on the inside of the Pacific plate, inside of the fulcrum here, 2.8. Latest current activity, 1.6 magnitude, just microquaking out through up the multiple fulcrums. Here's one way out here. 3.0 down or right the surface there, cracking off. Okay, remember the temperature anomalies that we were looking at in off the coast here? We're starting to build heat in this region. Well, look, now we're starting to have earthquakes in that little pocket area right there. It's 2.7. It's down at 29. There's no volcanic feature down there. That means down at this depth, that quake is a result of this going on right here. Let me put the little... Well, that's good enough. That's right about where your fracture zone comes out. And you see how this is hugging the coastline? Well, look, you see how this fracture zone hugs the coastline right there? That's why you're seeing this quake right here. I guarantee 2.7 down at 29. Pressure down below. And it's ringing these volcanoes right next to it here. Okay, these pressure wants to come up through the channel that created these volcanoes, but they're all plugged up too. So at the foot or on the flanks sometimes is activity down at 17. That's Rainier and St. Helens here. Okay, so we're seeing earthquake activity at volcanic sites because pressure in this region is growing. Okay, there's a good indicator right there. Now, as we come down to the Juan de Fuca fulcrum point here, inside the plate, low, it's not on the plate boundary, it's just inside, and it's really shallow at 4.9. So good little 4.0 right there, release some energy right there. And then we also have 3.2, and note that these are on the southern Pacific plate. Okay, this is up in the Juan de Fuca. This is in that third plate. So we got a quake in each one of these plates here. 3.2 there, 2.7 there, 2.7 there, 2.7, bunch of 27s there. Okay, nothing pushed inland. We see a little quake over here, really 2.1. That's really shallow right there. Look at all these fractures through there. Little valleys and fault zones and stuff through there. Now, when this acts up, this one goes quiet, but then that one will go quiet, and this one over by Yerington will act up, and it's still shaking around today. Hasn't stopped since the quake. Still 2.0 activity here. Yeah, mid-range 1s and 2s, but still shaking around. There's still something moving around, pressure being relieved in that area. Your geysers, micro-quaking out. Quake just south of it is 2.1 at Larkfield. Right here in the Hayward Fault Zone, we have a 2.1 at Castro Valley. Okay, on the opposite Pacific plate, 1.5s. Okay, just small activity there. Little activity around Mammoth there. Your eyeball structure right here quieting down, but still right out in the middle of it, out here in the ocean, 2.4 right at the surface. So all that pressure kind of diminishing and your quake activity dying off. Nothing in here. Watch for quake activity along this part because we've seen them 2 heat patches growing in there. Meanwhile, over here, perforations in the crust. 1.8. What's this current? 1.6. Okay, now pulling back. First, let's do this one. Up here in Canada, we got a 3.7 at the surface. Now, when we go zooming in here, I want you to kind of see some. This isn't a diverse quake because, well, look at the topography. There are so many faults and little cracks and crisscrosses running through the ground in this area. Looks like Yoda's forehead. Doesn't it? All wrinkly and green. And here, right on these little cracks, these little crisscrossing cracks here, is where your quake is. Little rivulets. Okay, so because of the topography in this area, as you can see, that's not a diverse quake. It's just that we haven't seen movement in that area in a long time. All right, so up here in Canada, this is an area to watch because now we've had a breakthrough here and a new weak spot form, a 3.7 at the surface when we had an uptick in pressure. So a spot to kind of keep an eye on there in Canada. Now we're going to come to this one here. This is your diverse quake, all right? Now, you see all the crisscrossing, but that is your fields, okay? Here's a 2.9 in Ohio, and it's at the surface there, 9.5. That's what I call the surface. not too deep. And it's right here at this little town. Come here, you. Give me this call. Hicksville. Kind of like where I live, Hicksville, because I'm a hick. But how funny. We still allowed to call one place Hicksville at least, and I'd be proud to live there. But there's your diverse quake. There are no plate boundaries. There's no other volcanic features around for a while. Is there? There's just nothing around for a long while. So there's your diverse quake right there happening in Ohio. Okay? And nothing along the Craton, nothing around the New Madrid. This is out of the region there. Okay, so there's your little diverse quake. It's not much, it's a small one, but it is technically kind of in an area where we're not supposed to be. And I believe that should cover our earthquake report. Now, shall we dance with some volcanoes under the pale moonlight? Here we go. Let me get these little lines out of there for a second and get my sip here. All this talking has made me thirsty. Okay. As you can see, 38 currently erupting and 35 in warning. Together is 73 volcanoes altogether that are active, if not currently erupting, okay? 7 years ago, when all this stuff started happening to me right around the Revelation 12 star alignment, there was only one volcano. If I'd have told you back then, hey, 7 years from now when this stuff starts going on, you're going to see upwards of 70 to 73 volcanoes, you would have said back then, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are 7 years later, and we have 70 to 73 volcanoes. And I am still crazy about you. Let's get into it, shall we? Diving face first, Joe versus the volcano at Sakurajima, Suwanosejima. Sakurajima did a 7,000 foot blast. Suwanosi did one to 6,000, so right next to each other, 6 and 7. Kenalone, unknown. Semaru, usually 14 or 15. Popocatépetl, 7,000, no, 23,000. 23,000. That's a big blast. Nevada del Ruiz, 23,000. Another big blast. That was just in the last few minutes. Because here's today, December 29th, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel. Okay, there's the map of your insanity. All kinds of currently active volcanoes all over the place. All right, red ones are active, the yellow ones are semi-active. It used to be more yellow than red on this map. Now it's more red than yellow. Stromboli and Etna both going off. Erta Ale going off right here where we're seeing our earthquake activity in Africa here. Michael, we got Home Reef out here, Kilauea. Also, one's coming to life here in the Aleutian Islands. And don't forget, we have one currently erupting volcano on the continent of Antarctica. You hear about that on your news at all? No, probably not. Okay, as we go through, here's Semaru, Dempo, Merapi, Kerensky, Krakatoa. There's just all these active volcanoes going right through that region and all along through here, keeping earthquake magnitudes down. Look at that. There's an indication of pressure coming out of the ground, huh? That was Luatobi. We're always reading about Luatobi. Well, that's what it looks like when it spews out a big old plume every other day, every day. Here's Semaru every day. Well, not a good picture, but also Kilauea volcano. Looking down at the top of it from now, here in the crater, we have a lake of magma going, and it has a little perforation where there's still magma bubbling out through this little. This is starting to solidify, and it's still red, but it's cooling, and we still have a small little vent popped open right there at that end. There's your 4-9 in Ethiopia. Sakurajima. Suwanosejima, 5,000, 8,000 at Sakurajima, 5,000 at Jima there. All right, Ibu, IBU. What? Usually Ibu, because we joke around with this one, I like to be with you at 7,000 feet, usually 6,000, but tonight we're together at 14,000 feet. That's a huge increase out of Ibu, and that's in Indonesia where all our activity is. Luatobi still going off. Semeru. Kilauea. The lava began erupting sluggishly from vents around 8 o'clock because we've had a little uptick in pressure. Popocatépetl 21, Fuego 14, Nevada del Ruiz 23, Songay 14 out of Reventador. Fontali or fentanyl. No, it's Fontali, Ethiopia. Over the past few days, seismic activity at the Awash area has picked up significantly, and at least 5 quakes of magnitudes around 4.5 have registered in the past 48 hours. The strongest quakes, such as one that's happened an hour ago, are being felt as far as the capital. Okay. Meanwhile, here is your list of that map. This is insanity. These are currently erupting. Okay, even though they didn't make the little report right here as special blast height, they are currently erupting. Over here, eruption warning. Any one of these could just go off at any moment and hop over here. I'm not going to read them all off because I'd need another soda. You can click on one of these like Krakatoa right here. Still going off in the Sun Strait. Krakatoa report from April 23rd. On the 19th, alert level for Krakatoa 2 to on a scale of 1 to 4 based on visual observations. So you can come over, click on any one of these. Whoops. Oh, you and your ads. I forgot. I can't do that. Click on any one of these and read about it, what its latest activity is. Here's Nevada del Ruiz. Remember, we were just reading 20,000 foot blast, 23,000 out of this, and it's on the active. It should be over here, currently erupting. So some of these should be over on this list. And they hop back and forth all the time. All right, so very, very disturbing what's going on as far as our volcano activity. All right, what letter do you see? Okay. Let's move on to our tidbits, our little tropical tidbits, shall we? All right, everybody put your hand out. Get ready for your tidbit. Open up. Here comes the tidbits. For you guys, here's some models. Actually, they're forecast models, sorry. Okay, we have so much particulates and so much water vapor mixing together that our storms are holding a lot more water. The air, much like a sponge, is instead of a small kitchen sponge, is now like the humongous washing your car type sponge that holds, instead of 4 ounces, it holds 4 gallons. So you are seeing a lot higher output of rain, and your thunderstorms getting stronger. Everything, every little thing, deeper snow, stronger winds, everything going with weather is intensifying. And we also have the spiritual realm kicking in there too. So current conditions, nighttime of the December 29th. Here we go. Morning of the 30th, noon, convection. You see this low right here coming in, convection. Nighttime, morning of the 31st, noon, convection, nighttime. So New Year's Eve in New York, right around there. Morning of the January 1st, noon, convection, nighttime. January 2nd, noon, convection, nighttime. 3rd, noon, convection. Maybe snow along the Sierras there, nighttime. Morning of the 4th, noon, convection. Look at this ice event. You see all this snow and cold air coming down. More of this warm, moist air coming up. The cold air slides underneath Okay, and this warm moist air goes over the top. Then it rains. That rain goes down through the colder air and freezes when it hits the ground. So there's your icing events in between. You got to picture as if this was all green, the warm moist air going over the top while this cool air slides underneath. That's what forms that little patch area right there. And then it rains up higher and lands. That rain falls down through warm air and then hits cool air towards the ground, freezes when it hits the ground. Big icing event possibly there. Those are things we're going to have to watch out for here in this winter too, especially around convergent zones like this where warm and cold meet. That's a convergent zone there in Kansas. So icing in Kansas all the way into Missouri through the convection of the 4th. Look at that. The nighttime getting even more intense by the morning of the 5th. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 5th, noon, convection. Wow. That is a long duration ice event. Okay. Something new that we're going to have to start talking about here are icing events like this. This is no joke. This is going to take down power lines, trees, all kinds of stuff. This is going to create havoc on the roads. All right, starting here, the noon time of January 4th, from this time frame, starting at noon on the 4th, all the way through the 4th. There's the morning of the 5th that picks up in intensity. These are deeper ice accumulations, stronger, thicker ice, even thicker. That's the noon of the January 5th, all along that Mississippi, Ohio Valley convergence zone right there. Dude. Then at convection, you throw in some severe weather right on the backside of it right there. That is crazy. Let's pray this doesn't happen. This is January 5th. It's still a little far out of range right there. But boy, that looks like it could come together here. Yeah, an ice event of that intensity for that long, covering that much territory. The nighttime of the 4th, morning of the 5th, noon, convection the 5th. Wow. Nighttime the 5th. Wow. Going into the morning of the 6th, noon, and by convection the 6th, it's finally out of the area. That's a long duration event. We're going to have to monitor this as we get closer to this time frame, but that's just outside our window of reliability. So hopefully that changes, because that could have the potential to be very, very devastating. Morning of the 7th here, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 8th, noon, convection, nighttime, 9, noon, convection, nighttime, 10, noon, convection, nighttime, 11. I go faster because these are too far out into the future. I'm just looking for setups that are examples here. Look at this, icing way down in Texas here. Okay, so that's all most likely to happen right up to there. January 1st, the 2nd. Okay, now right around here is where we start to get to that 3-day time frame where it might not be. Oh, we forgot geomagnetic enhancement. Okay, just really quick here. So if we get G3 enhancement on the 31st, we get G3 enhancement on the 31st, right there, this storm right here might whip up a little bit stronger. There's the morning of the 31st. That could grow in intensity, but not really too bad, the region and the configuration of it already. So that might not have too much of an effect. Then we have also G1 predicted on the 1st. So slight enhancement to anything right there, which doesn't look like much. Okay, good. But boy, okay, right here, January 3rd, when this low right here comes in and comes over Idaho, if we start to see that low go through Idaho, if it drops down here to Colorado like it did during this time frame from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., if that thing shunts south right there, you see the ice right there starting to form, that's when we know this is going to be a big time event, okay? It'll catch people off guard. There are going to be icy roads. Like I said, it clings to power lines, tree limbs. It'll be taking down trees. Trees are falling on houses, power outages, icy roads, airport closures, road closures, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that low right there. And this is January 3rd, which is just outside our 3-day pocket right there. So pretty soon, if we see that storm come into that region and start to do this, if it drops to this region right there by noon the 4th, you'll know that it's on, that it's going. Okay, boom. That's our main event that I'm concerned about in the future here. Our next one to watch for. And you see severe weather get mixed into their nighttime of the 5th. So that could be a catastrophic event with these two mergers. It's a cold and warm, moist air mass slamming into each other. And like I said, that warm, moist air is going up over this cold air, and then it rains down through that cold air and freezes. Wow. And then right up through that area. Okay, so everybody in that region, make sure you're prepared for ice as well. You know, a lot of salt for your patios, for your walkways. Keep warm too. All right, so that's it for all your geophysics, astrophysics. Let's get into our metaphysics, your spiritual report. Your spiritual report. This is for you. All right, shall we? K4. Don Baker, man, I'm going to give you a big old hug, man. You're going to trip. You are going to trip. You're just going to be like, wow, I'm actually going to see this guy face to face and give him a hug. All right, there we go. Some reading or some images for our reading. Oh, I was going to show you that tornado one more time and take you to that guy's channel. I clicked out of it. I'll find it again and post it in my community. And then that way you guys can go over to the community page, click on the video, do your thing if you'd like to, or not. Okay, we're pulling up images to read to here. Most of you have caught on with what's going on. Okay, and last night we talked about spiritual attacks. You witnessed one of a spiritual attack where we were called a cult. How would you like it if I came into your house and kicked down your door and called you and your family a cult? You feel kind of weird, huh? But it's okay, because sometimes people have been, misdirected and they don't understand yet. And I know this stuff can be hard to grasp. It's not easy, especially some of this stuff is quite frankly unbelievable. I can understand that. How do you think I felt when it started happening to me? It was like, what? Okay, so we're getting some images pulled up. I got a good little message for you guys tonight, too. Let's do this guy really quick here. All right, this event was captured not too long ago. And what's going on? We get screen's got. Oh, it smashed them off. All right, well, here we're gonna do a little audio thing with this too, because in this is a EVP. Not supposed to mess around and try to talk to the dead, but this EVP has a very important message in it, and we're gonna capture this message, and it's played back at a little slower speed because the spiritual realm happens at different times and different speeds. Okay, we're kind of moving at slow motion, and other things are happening faster than we can perceive. Then also things are moving slower than we can perceive as well. So things are happening at different speeds, basically different dimensions. This event right here is the guy walking in the clouds here, and I'm going to play this opening message, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear the EVP that says he is the Christ who's coming quickly. It sounds like it says Jesus Christ is coming quickly, but when you listen closely, it says,
oh, holy fucking shit.
Sorry about their profanity, but
oh.
all right, hopefully that didn't blow your eardrums out, but you guys could hear in the ether or in the other realm, there's a voice saying, he is the Christ who's coming quickly. Maybe some of you hear Jesus Christ is coming quickly, but it sounds very similar. I'm going to play this one more time. Sorry about their profanity, but we're going to have to endure it. I'll try to cut out as much as I can.
Oh, holy.
All right, so there was a message previous to this. Right at the very beginning, it says, in a different speed, Jesus in the flesh. So we're going to slow it down really slow so you can hear the very little part at the very opening sounds of this. The first notes of the song, basically, the first sounds that you hear are a voice saying Jesus in the flesh. So we're going to try to capture this really quick. You can hear flesh. Jesus in the flesh. Okay, Jesus in the flesh. Then we go to half speed. It says, he is the wolf. So it says, Jesus in the flesh, the wolf. He is the Christ who's coming quickly. So I'm going to put it back on 0.75 really quick. Hopefully you guys are hearing this. And what I could do is I'll post this link in the community, and you can come over and play with the playback speeds and put your earphones on, because my microphone in this chintzy little speaker system doesn't do it justice. But there is, in fact, an EVP attached to this event that people don't know about or how to fake it. All right, most people don't know about this stuff or how to fake it and add it to a video. These people taking this video did not hear this audibly. It was attached electromagnetically to their recording. That's what an EVP is, an electromagnetic voice print. And let's get back to 0.75. So the opening is Jesus in the flesh, really fast. And then the wind blows the words, the wolf. Then you hear that message, he is the Christ who's coming quickly. So all together, here we go.
Oh. Oh.
It also almost sounds like the wind says the word. It could be saying the wolf, the word, but listen.
Oh.
All right, there were 5 different events during this during this event, okay, I know these EVPs are real because I've been plagued with this stuff. The radio talks to me. How would you like it if your stereo stopped playing music and just started talking to you? It would freak you out.
Holy fucking shit,
All
guys.
right, we're just gonna play it now at regular speed. Sorry, and let this play out. Pardon their French and their, we all heard cursing before. Forgive them. Here we go. It's the rest. There's 5 captured. There's 2. That's the second time. No message on that one. I listened closely. Okay, let's give you full screen.
Oh no. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, you can say that.
I don't think we're going to be able to get video of it because it's not ringing right. Holy fuck.
Okay. That was the 4th strike, or the 4th image. And during this one, there's an EVP2. It says, let's go to, I think it's +5 on this one. There's 2 flashes. Is one image here, then the lightning flashes and is there. And I believe this one says, he is here, or what? Let's listen really quick here. Okay, you can hear a whisper, here, here. Okay. There was something that was right before it.
Holy fuck.
Oh, okay. It says Jesus. He's right here, here. Okay, can you hear that? Let's try it one more time. Let's go back to regular speed. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over, but bear with me. This is real. This is important stuff. Once you kind of grasp what I'm trying to get you guys to hear.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck.
All right, you see how fast it happens and that you can barely hear it at regular speed. So let me slow it down just a tad bit. Jesus is close. Here, here.
Holy fuck.
All right, then there's one more time.
I don't know.
Okay, that last one got even closer to him, and it scared them, and they closed the door in fear. That's a natural response. This person really recorded that, and the last one was over here. The next one's right there, right next to the door. They get freaked out and close the door. Let's go right here.
Holy fuck.
No, I don't know.
Okay, here we go. So, Jesus in the flesh, here, here. Okay, so now we're going to go back to this. Oopsie, now I've done it. Go to YouTube again, open up my page, and go to another image for reading to. It's important that you guys get all this. So, oh, we're going to do... that's this one. Oh, that's good enough for now. We got these two for the moment. Okay. Alrighty. So pretty amazing stuff. Most people only saw the one capture where he was in the clouds, walking through the clouds. Not a lot of people knew that there were 5 different captures in that event. Most people only saw the first event. And then of the people who only saw the first event, most don't even know about the EVP that was attached to it saying Jesus in the flesh. Here. Okay. Alrighty, so what we're going to get into right here. Now, we're trying to get through to some people last night who mistakenly have, showed the spirit that's in them sometimes, and it's because they haven't built a relationship with me yet. So once they stick around and go through this process more and more, they'll start to build a relationship and then start to trust me. That's how relationships go. After you've gotten to know each other for a long time, you can build up this thing called trust. But you can't just trust anybody without knowing them first, right? So it's important that you trust me with every fiber of your being. What I can accomplish in and through you is proportional to how much you trust me and how much you depend on me as well. When you're practicing this salvage work, you're depending on me. The more you practice, the better you get at it. So that's depending on me. What I can accomplish in and through you is proportional to how much you trust me and depend on me. And one aspect of this is the degree to which you trust me in a crisis or a major decision. So some people fail miserably here, while others are at their best in tough times or under pressure. Another aspect is even more telling is the consistency of your trust in me. Your consistency. Okay? That's another aspect. It's not just a one-time thing. It's every day when you need these, when you're making decisions, when you're, doing important stuff. Is your consistency too. That's another very important factor. People that do this, who are consistent, who rely on me in the midst of their adversity, they may forget about me when life is flowing smoothly. Difficult times can jolt you into awareness of your need for me, whereas smooth sailing can lull you into a stupor of self-sufficiency. I care as much about your tiny little trust steps through your daily life. I care as much about those as about your dramatic leaps of faith. Okay? So I care just as much about your tiny trust steps as I do your dramatic leaps of faith. So you may think that no one notices, but the one who is always beside you sees everything and rejoices. Consistently trusting in me is vital to flourishing in my presence. Well, isn't it? The more you trust me, the more you flourish. So consistently trusting in me is vital to flourish in my presence. Okay? Let's go right here. Pull this back a little bit so you can see the spiritual realm. You are looking at the spiritual realm, caught up in the clouds. You're caught up with me in the clouds here. Like a good book, like a good reading. I want you to get caught up because I am leading you along the way that is uniquely right for you. The closer to me you grow, the more fully you become your true self, the one I designed you to be. And because you are one of a kind, the path you are traveling with me diverges increasingly from that of other people. Now, my mysterious wisdom and ways Through that, I enable you to follow this solitary path while staying in close contact with others. In fact, the more completely you devote yourself to me, the more freely you can love other people. So marvel at the beauty of life intertwined with my presence and rejoice as we journey together in intimate communion. Enjoy the adventure of finding yourself through losing yourself in me. Okay? You're finding yourself and losing your ego at the same time. All right? That's finding yourself and losing yourself in me. That's how you do it. Okay? Whatever I got on this backside. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is perfect. So as this year draws to a close, I want you to receive my peace. This is still your deepest need, and I, your Prince of Peace, long to pour myself into your neediness. I long to pour myself into your neediness. So we get that? No, that's too close. All right. Whatever. Let's go like that. I want you to receive my peace. It's still your deepest need. I long to pour myself into your neediness. My abundance and your emptiness are a perfect match. I designed you to have no sufficiency of your own. I created you as a jar of clay set apart for sacred use. Remember that definition of holy is not goody-goody or perfect. No, holy means set apart for sacred use. And I created you as a jar of clay that is what? Set apart for sacred use. Oh, that makes you holy. Did you know that you were set apart for sacred use too? That makes you holy. Whether you're a goody-goody or not, you have been set apart. You are holy. I created you as a jar of clay, set apart for sacred use. I want you to be filled with my very being, permeated through and through with peace. So thank me for my peaceful presence, regardless of your feelings, and whisper my name in loving tenderness, and my peace, which lives continually in your spirit, will gradually work its way through your entire being, just from the core up to the surface, right? There's the core, and it's going to make its way to the surface. Thank me for my peaceful presence, regardless of your feelings. Whisper my name in loving tenderness, and my peace, which lives continually in your spirit. It's always in there. It will gradually work its way to the surface. And then it'll come pouring out like this, and you're going to start blessing other people everywhere you go. What's this other thing I have here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me take another sip here. You guys getting the hang of this? Good. I'm glad you enjoy this part, too. Sorry I dragged you through all the reports and stuff to get to this part, but maybe one of these days, if I get just a little bit more time, I could do 2 separate channels, one for just spiritual only. But this last little message again, as you come to the end of this year, take some time to look back and also to look ahead. Ask me to help you review the highlights of this year, hard times as well as good times. Then try to see me in these memories, for I have been close beside you every step of the way. So when you're clinging to me for help in the midst of tough times, I comforted you with my loving presence. I was also richly present in the circumstances that filled you with great joy. I was with you on the mountain peaks and in the valleys and everywhere in between. Your future stretches out before you all the way into eternity, doesn't it? Looking at this, can you see your future stretching out before you all the way into eternity? Good, 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 because it should. I am the companion who will never leave you, the guide who knows every step of the way ahead, and the joy that awaits you in paradise is inexpressible and full of glory. And as you prepare to step into a new year, let heaven's light shine upon you and brighten the path just before you. Okay, there's your closing messages for the year, kind of there. We'll see if I do a show tomorrow night or not. A lot of people around this time will be celebrating New Year's Eve, so we'll see. Depending on what I'm doing tomorrow night around this time, we might do a show, we might not. But that's it for tonight, I think. Anything else, Lord? Ugh, I think that's it. Beautiful image. There's the Holy of Holies right there. This is all love, okay? When you realize what's going on here and you see that this is, I mean, look at these other clouds. There's other stuff going on in these other clouds, like this weird face over here. And then there's like an alien face in the other part. So there's other stuff going on around this as well. But the main part, you can tell right here. This is the goods right there. Because you get to see him pulling his shirt open, just like Superman in the movies. That's just so cool, where he pulls his shirt open and big ass. No, Jesus pulls his shirt open and it's just this big heart. So, a lot of love out there. You guys are doing awesome. Keep doing your work. Try to bring that love, compassion, your forgiveness into other people's lives. You're growing stronger each day. Every time you're overcoming a circumstance in the world, you're overcoming the circumstance in the world, you're overcoming the world. So you get a glory for that. It's like a little gold star because you use Jesus to overcome your circumstances. You figured it out and you get a gold star, kind of like a glory. So every time you're using Jesus to overcome your situation, you are going from glory to glory to glory in your tribulation, aren't you? Aren't you? When you're doing it this way, you are. Okay, now a lot of people have got a lot of misconceptions about the rapture because they watched Hollywood and Left Behind and all this stuff. If you read in the Bible, it's the tares that get taken away and the wheat is left behind. So maybe it's good to be left behind. You guys better start reading the Bible. Quit listening to Hollywood. Okay, because they got you thinking that you're going to turn into this little white dot and disappear into the clouds, and then all the planes are going to crash and traffic's going to crash. No. What it says is, in this time frame, when you see the star alignment, start looking up, because when you do, you will start to see activity in your clouds. You'll start to see faces in the clouds. And then you'll start to see my face in the clouds. Kind of like you're doing right now. You're seeing my face in the clouds coming with power and great glory, where we meet in the air here at YouTube. I can't come over to your house right now. I'm still physically stuck in a meat suit. Okay. So until I can break free of this meat suit, we meet in the air, where I have provided a place that where I am, you may be also. And this includes at any time of the day, even in replay, even older videos, even older shows. All of this information is timeless. Okay, so if you need a break from the world and you want to come over, you can click to a live show and just fast forward right to the spiritual report at the end if you need to. And I bet you haven't heard every single one of them on my channel yet, so there's bound to be some in the archives. If you miss me one night, you can always go listen to an archived one, because the information will still pertain. It will. It's just timeless. It doesn't matter what day or not. Now, the hour and the day and the hour. No man knows the day or the hour, because it's up to that man to choose said day and hour, right? It's the moment that you trust me. It's the moment that you believe me and that you trust me. That's the moment you are caught up with me in the clouds. You have to have faith in order to see this. So your faith gives you the ability to be able to see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. You guys are indeed part of an elite royal family. That's the part you should want. These are not computer generated. This is not AI. This is before AI. Okay. These are real clouds. It's not Photoshop. I mean, look at my rinky dink setup. I use a phone pointed at an old secondhand laptop. I don't have the tech to create this stuff. This is real imagery. And thankfully for you guys, it is real. And the moment you accept that this is real, that's when the miracle happens. That's the moment you are raptured. It could happen at any moment. It's the moment that you decide. And most people don't know when that moment is going to hit them. They don't know for sure yet if they've decided to trust me or believe me. They're still on the fence, but that moment that they do, well, that you don't know which moment that's going to be, what day or what hour that's going to be, and you'll never will. Everybody has a different day, a different hour. Therefore, no man will know the day or the hour, will they? It'll just kind of catch them. And they'll go, oh, I get it now. It's that revelation. It's like the light bulb goes off in your head. 2 + 2 is 4. Oh, yeah. 2 plus another 2, yeah, it's 4. I get it now. It's revealed. It's a revelation inside you that once it occurs, you might want to write it down. Oh, it was on a Friday at 2 in the morning when I was watching Brian on YouTube is when it hit me. That was the day and the hour. Everybody's got a different day and hour. All of you that are here at this point of the show had your own individual day and hour, didn't you? When you finally decided, ooh, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to trust him. I'm going to believe him. I see something, and then I hear something that goes along with it as well. I might just take a little leap of faith and trust and believe and try this out and see if I get the results that I'm looking that he's telling me I will find. And you are finding peace in your circumstances. It's a little tough, but as you work at it, it'll become easier and things won't rattle you as quickly, and you'll be able to practice this. You'll be well versed and well experienced. Shit, you'll be an expert by experience, won't you? By default. By default, I am making you an expert. Pretty cool, huh? How I do that? By default, I make you an expert. Yep. You're going through life. You're experiencing these things. Why get down about it and let it beat you down and go into this well of depression and self-pity when you could use this tool to bounce back time and time again? And when you realize you're bouncing back from an adversity and you're overcoming it and you're getting a little confidence from it, okay, not gold star, but you're actually building confidence and a little self-esteem, not pride, but a little bit of self-esteem, some confidence that you can take on anything. You can take on anything with this. So you got big obstacles in your life, boy, take a big scoop of this and go at it, all right? If it wasn't enough, dig in another scoop and go at it some more, all right? It will work. It does work when you work it, okay? These principles aren't just meant to sit there. You got to put them into practice and apply them and get the results in your life. That's where you see the real miracle, okay? Is the results in your life. Those little hidden treasures along the pathway, you're starting to recognize them. You're starting to appreciate them. You're overcoming adversity along the way. Man, this life has turned into a little richer and fuller than it was before, huh? I mean, knowing that each day is precious as we get closer to the end here, how precious time is each day. Man, you are making the most of each day. You are living full and rich now, aren't you? Much fuller and much richer than you did before you came to this channel. You may have had your faith and you may have had your prayers and stuff, but now we take it a step further. In beyond belief into knowing. Knowing me, getting to know me. I'm a dude, okay? Just like a person like you, okay? I'll flip the camera around one of these nights. I don't feel like giving everybody a heart attack right now, okay? Because that can happen, and I don't want that happening. So in the future here, we'll turn the camera around little by little. You'll get to see my face does indeed match this one and Out by the Moon, and you'll get to recognize me and stuff. But for the moment, just kind of shy, you know. But you can still see my face this way, okay? It's all because I love you. I've been through some crazy stuff in my life, all right? And nobody believed me. Meanwhile, I took pictures. The whole process, I took pictures to document what was happening to me. So even regardless if people don't believe me or not, at least I got it documented for somebody who might. Good thing I did that, because I found the people who might. They weren't in the institutions. They weren't in the jails or in the courtrooms. They were here on YouTube. Go figure. In the air. Yeah, it wasn't in my house. It wasn't out there in the world. I found my family who sees me coming in the clouds in the air. I found you guys in the air. Imagine that. So you are indeed caught up with me in the clouds, here in the air of YouTube, live streaming at Brian Knight channel. Where I am, you may be also. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you have a happy new year. And if I don't talk to you before tonight or tomorrow night, I will see you next year. How about that? If I don't do a report very tail end of the night, we will see you next year. All right. That's it for tonight. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. You can see me. You can hear me. And now you guys are overcoming your circumstances. You are going from glory to glory to glory in your tribulation. Well done. That's what I like to see, is your progress, your relief, your peace. Okay? I do this for you. That's it. I love you all. Miss you all. See you next year. Bye. Maybe sooner.